Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cancer July 2021 Love Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and meaning-based spiritual coaching services. I am Lauren. Welcome. So, all of my Cancers, this is one of 3 readings that I complete each month for each sign that focus on connection. Connecting your unique internal authentic self with some aspect of your life experience. So this specific reading is focused on love. And so we are taking a look at your unique internal authentic self and how you are currently connecting that with the unique internal authentic selves of others around you. We're going to take a look at the energy of love in general, as well as any specifics that come up that might pertain to romantic love or to specific relationships that you're dealing with right now. Now, all of my readings do utilize the Triad of Engagement, which is a coaching tool I've developed that shows the importance of working with the principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and how when those are applied together can help unlock awareness about your unique, singular spiritual purpose and self, and how that translates and is able to be connected to your external environment and can create purpose and emotional fulfillment. All right, so Cancer. We are going to start with pulling a card for kind of an overarching theme. Oh, and something came right out. An overarching theme, but focusing on a question to ask yourself. So this is an opening element. This is us focusing on curiosity and focusing on what curiosity is meant for us to work with, which is openness and receptivity and optimism. So when we're thinking about the theme of love, this is going to be kind of a question that you're going to be asking yourself about the energy of love and kind of what you're dealing with right now as far as July. Now, I apologize for the late date in getting these out to you guys. So most likely this is energy that you're working with, through the month of July, but moving into August. So the energy of love, just to kind of go into that a little bit more in detail, is really the energy of give and take. It is an energy that we work with that helps us open up ourselves to receive love and support from both others and just our external environment and the divine, as well as an energy that we can give. So we are able to give love and support to others. So there should always be this nice flow when we are actually working with love, the energy of love in a healthy way. So for you, Cancers, we have Hello from Heaven. And it says, your loved ones in the spirit world want to connect with you as much as you want to connect with them. They know you've been thinking of them and they're sending you signs and symbols to show you how much they love you and to prove they're with you at this time. Very beautiful opening message for curiosity. So when we're thinking about the energy of love, I think this ties right into that we are surrounded by love at all times. I really feel that love is the connective, unifying force that we can't really put our finger on that connects all of us in one giant collective experience. Not even just human experience, but the energy that connects the smallest insect and plant to the largest star and universe in the sky. So when we're thinking about connecting and the energy of love, that can involve us also connecting with the mystery that goes even beyond our direct tangible experience, which is connecting with loved ones, deceased or passed on loved ones, connecting with angels and spirit guides. But more importantly, just connecting with the energy of those who are not able to be present with you in the moment, and understanding that we can actually give support and love just by bringing somebody to mind, just by bringing a prayer at some point throughout the day towards and focusing it towards someone who perhaps is in need. This is the power of prayer. This is the power of also manifestation and focused energy. And so we can utilize the power of energy, or the power of love, as an energy through, again, us directing it in a very focused way. And that can look like a given point in day, just holding somebody in mind, and vice versa. So the beauty of this card and the beauty of the energy of love is that it's never just give or take, it's both. So we can do this, we can stay connected to people that we perhaps are geographically distanced from, or that we are unable to be in direct contact with, and keeping them in mind and wishing them the best, or praying for them to have success or a change of circumstance that will help better them, or simply just, again, sometimes it's the only thing that we can do is just to keep somebody in mind. And that will let them know as well that they are connected and they can feel that support. There's this element of, and it always makes me think of Mark Twain, the great American author. He talked about crossing letters. And there's this concept that even he picked up on back in the 1800s, where he realized that there were times when he went to write a letter to a friend, and when he went to post that letter, there was already a letter waiting for him from that person, from that friend, at the post office. And so two people had been thinking about each other at the same time. And this is, crossing letters, crossing energy, crossing the energy of love. And so what he observed is not only what I've observed, but I think what a lot of people observe. Tends to be the strange coincidence that when we think of somebody, that person will actually end up reaching out to us. Now, the same can be said for somebody else with regards to you, and the same can be said for the mystery that goes beyond our experience of life. There could possibly well be people and spirits in the afterlife, or in the mystery that is beyond what we know and experience, reaching out to you and helping. Now, I love that there's this element of showing signs. So I do think in being curious as to how you work with this energy of love, and being curious as to who you keep in mind throughout the day, and who kind of comes across your thoughts, but also in opening yourself up to what are signs and symbols around you that perhaps remind you of specific people and why. And I think also to be, when we think about curiosity and really coming from an optimistic place, to really take a look at looking at signs and how do you feel supported by what these signs kind of bring in for you and who they remind you of, and how well do you actually feel connected to others? Do you keep other people in mind? Do others keep you in mind? So this is kind of the overarching question or theme for the energy of love, and you're looking at your interpersonal relationships this month. I apologize, I can't talk. I feel, let me get some water here. Making me tongue-tied, Cancer. Maybe that's how you're feeling right now. Okay, now I'm going to pull some cards to see the energy around either just what you're dealing with specifically in love, or if there's anything specific around a specific person that you are connected to currently with the energy of love. Now, again, this could be romantic, or this can sometimes fall into the category of a familial interaction or a workplace interaction. It's really just looking at who you could possibly be dealing with right now that maybe has a block in the area of love that needs to be resolved, or in general, just with you connecting to others, if there's a block that needs to be resolved. Okay. So Cancer, we have the Five of Swords, which does denote a element of defensiveness on a mental level. So when we're thinking about being curious about how we connect even just on this extra sensory level with others, there is this quality of feeling perhaps like you are in a place where you have to defend yourself. Now, the Five of Swords focuses on the element of air, so this is directly relating to our thoughts. So there's this quality of being defensive or coming across as needing to kind of fight these internal mental battles around your interactions with others. And since it really focuses on swords, there's this quality of each one of us has our own sword, our own unique sword of truth. It's our personal truth that we're gifted with from the divine. It's what makes us unique. I like to call it we each have our very own Excalibur sword. Now, sometimes what can happen is when we are connecting with others, which involves the energy of love on no matter who we're connecting with, whether this is at work or whether it's at home, or even with a stranger just out as we interact with them, that there can be this sense that this place that we get into on a mental level where we feel that our truth is in competition with the truth of others. And that this card can represent us feeling the need to, this is a very good depiction of trying to win an argument at all costs. You don't care who you have to hurt, even if you hurt yourself, or even if you end up alone, like this guy in this picture. You don't care what you have to do or say to basically prove that your opinion or your point is correct. I also see this as the illusion that everybody else's sword is and when we say swords, personal truth, that everybody else's personal truth is pointed at you, coming from a place of trying to attack your truth. And that we get into this place that's, again, a false it's an illusion that every person we meet, we have to be on guard and ready to defend our truth against theirs. When in reality, everybody has their own truth for a reason. They have their own perspective. They have their own mental perspective, because that's how we get this beautiful, I like to think of it as a prism, or I like to think of it as a prism, as this element of refraction where the ray of light that is spirit, that is God, that is the universe, that is the greater grand intelligent design, however you choose to see it, enters and is able to refract this beautiful rainbow of just difference. And we are that different. Each one of our truths is that part of the rainbow, is part of that refraction, part of the beauty that comes as we are all touched by the divine uniquely and individually. So that is kind of your overarching block right now as far as the energy of love, and that you're kind of sitting in this place where you feel that you have to kind of be on guard with your truth, and that you're coming from a little bit of a defensive place of my truth is the truth, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to prove that at all costs. So I'm going to get a few additional cards here right now to see what else are you guys dealing with regarding this. Now, this could be in relation to a specific person. This could be that there is one person in your life that you feel you have to battle a little bit. Maybe that somebody is challenging you, especially if it's somebody that's close to you. And that can be difficult. It can be difficult when you feel that your truth is not respected or not seen by those that you are, especially those that are closest to you, but those that you are interacting with on a daily basis. So in addition to that, we have the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is a card that denotes your ultimate vision of your legacy, of what you leave behind in the tangible world. This is the card, I mean, you can see here, it looks like it's an old man with, you know, a younger person and a dog, and they're kind of in this, you know, beautiful scene here. And it's almost like he's passing on, he's getting to share with his son or grandson the fruits and the legacy and the knowledge that he's acquired through tangible hard work. And it's a beautiful card. The Ten of Pentacles is a card of, again, your ultimate achievement in the tangible world. And so with these two cards kind of coming up together, there's this quality of perhaps Cancer being a little too on guard with having to have your vision of what is your legacy. How can I say this? That there's this quality that when we're thinking about the energy of love and we're thinking about sharing our connection with another, that often, especially in our private lives and in our romantic lives, even though each one of us has our own destined path, and each one of us is living our singular uniqueness, and no other person can live our life for us. We have to live into our own destinies as individuals. We still have to come together to share a common vision for our shared legacy or shared future. And that goes even coming into places like the work world, where yes, you may be getting one thing out of your own individual experience at work, but usually you're working on a team or with at least one or two other people, and you do need to come together to have a shared, you know, kind of end ultimate outcome. But what I'm feeling here more is that this is pertaining specifically to the romantic. I'm really getting that feeling strongly, that this has nothing to do with work, that this is all very much relating to your vision of what you want to achieve, your vision of success that involves home and family and kind of the whole package. And that it may be a little bit at odds with the other person you're connecting with. Now, when we think about kind of being at odds with what we're working towards or the vision of what we feel is success, a lot of times it's where we're just not communicating with our partner from a place of openness, emotional vulnerability, which is exactly what the energy of love needs to stay open and fluid instead of blocked. This is not that. This is when we, instead of using the beautiful emotional vulnerability that love asks us to tap into, which is to express, not in a way that's defensive, but in a way that comes across as, you know, why don't we discuss our views for our shared experience together? I notice that you seem to be under the belief that we both have to work 60 hours a week, and that we can't be happy until we have a giant home with this much money in the bank. But in reality, for me, I value something a little different. Yes, I want to achieve maybe some financial tangible success, but I personally don't need to work 60 hours a week because I don't need that giant house on the hill. I would prefer to have more free time to myself, and that's more of value to me. Can we discuss how to bring both together? Now you're opening yourself up to a very vulnerable place when you're talking about this. And when right now we opened with curiosity, we're working with courage right now. It takes courage for us to take action from a place of authenticity, from a place where we are authentically connecting with ourselves, to make the decision to take action, to have that very vulnerable conversation with your significant other. And this can even be that discussion where it's the reverse and you're like, I really want this. I need financial stability. I need the big home. I like to work a lot. I need that level of status in my career. And it doesn't seem like your partner cares at all. And you're starting to feel frustrated. You're starting to feel like you're doing this all alone. And this is where you can take it back to curiosity and realize we're always in this together. We're always being supported by the energy of love. And that sometimes all it takes is for us to open up to the other person, to allow them to recognize that we are thinking about them, that we are keeping them in mind, and that we really do want them to be as happy with their life experience and their ultimate legacy as we want to be. And so this can be where instead of feeling defensive, or every time money or career is brought up, you shut down and instantly engage from a place of, well, my way is better, or don't criticize me for this, or you don't work hard enough. You open it up from a different way. You choose to take courageous action to be vulnerable, but to also at the same time not put aside your own authentic needs. So I feel, Cancer, right now, this is a great time for you really to be introspective as to what you do need to feel like you have the ultimate legacy. If you think about what you would want to leave behind for yourself, that on your deathbed, you can look back at your life and say, I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I was able to live the life that I wanted to live. What does that look like? What do you need to feel fulfilled on that level? And then this is where you're going to have to communicate that to the people closest in your life who you are sharing that experience with. Now I'm going to get a few additional clarifier cards. So I'm going to clarify the Five of Swords to see kind of the energy behind perhaps what you might be defending or fighting over. What does Cancer need to know about the Five of Swords? What does Cancer need to know about the Five of Swords? Any additional messages? Any additional messages? So the card that came out is the Fountain, which is interesting. So this deck actually is the Fountain deck, tarot. And the Fountain is a card that is specific to this deck. Okay, so nothing more for the Five of Swords. So we'll discuss this. So the Fountain is what came out. And this card always reminds me kind of that end scene in 2001 Space Odyssey, for anybody who's seen that, where they kind of go through this trippy kind of space travel thing where it's almost like going through time and all of time and space. And there's that quality to this card, that within this card exists everything, exist all possibilities, this is the source of everything and our connection to it. And to come up with the Five of Swords, there's almost this quality of really being, Cancer, you are a highly intuitive sign. That is your superpower. That is what you're working with. You are able to connect intuitively with yourself and with the divine, as well as to You're a cardinal sign, so you really are about taking action from that place in a strong and centered way. You're very connected to your emotions. And so there is this element here of kind of understanding. I think you guys are tapping into your greater kind of cosmic purpose. And you're starting to really feel that. You're starting to feel your connection to everything, starting to understand that connection to everything. You might be seeing things manifest quickly, or you might be realizing that you are feeling like you're connected to others that you haven't been connected to in a long time. But there is this element almost of, okay, you're feeling connected. You're starting to see your purpose. You're starting to see that the bigger kind of grand design behind everything. And you're starting to understand how that can fit in and help you achieve your legacy. But at the same time, that might mean that there are shifts that are happening. Perhaps you've been working towards, for a while with a significant other, a shared goal, and now the shared goal might be shifting a little bit. Or how you get to the shared goal might be shifting now that you're realizing that there's this element that you're connecting to on a greater level. So I'm going to get some clarifier cards for the Ten of Pentacles to see kind of what's going on with this shared vision for the future. Whoa, okay. So we had 3 cards that first card came out, Ace of Cups. Love this card. This is the card of love from the divine. This is the card of unconditional, cup overfloweth. This is the knowledge that you always have a full cup of love between you and the divine. It's also a card that signifies new love. Or, oops, sorry guys, my apology. Let me turn that off so it doesn't happen again. It's also that card that can signify new love or a rekindling of an existing love. And then we have the Page of Wands, the Six of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. So I don't know if I can hold all those up for you guys there. So right off the bat, I'm looking at how these came out. We have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands sandwiched between the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. It's a card of going back in time to a moment that we connect with on a positive emotional level, where we get a chance to almost go back and get a gift from our past self or past experience that we can bring forward into our current life experience. And being sandwiched by Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands, both of these talk about working with passion, working with taking action from a place of passion. And so what I'm seeing here is that there's almost this quality of kind of almost falling back in love with yourself, of falling in love with the understanding of your own spiritual connection, your importance, what you personally bring between your connection to everything and to your life experience, but then also reconnecting with this beautiful element of wanting to take action from a place of passion, wanting to go out. So the page really embodies the element of the childlike sense of curiosity and wonder in working with your passion, your unique passion. This is really where we would get a chance to go out and, it's like being handed a magic wand for the first time and you're like, oh my gosh, look what this can do. Let me go out, run outside real fast and try to see can I light things on fire? Can I make things appear? That kind of thing. There's this element of working with a passion from this fresh perspective, this fresh childlike perspective. And then the Knight of Wands is a card where you take it one step further, where now you kind of, you know what the wand can do. Now you've been working with your passions a little bit. And here, so the Knights in general in the tarot are about forward energy, or forward progression, and forward energy, forward movement. And so this is about kind of the card of kind of do what feels good. Go where your passion strikes. Now, this can be a card in some circumstances that can denote a little bit of being a flake or being the romantic interest, the kind of Don Juan who goes from this relationship to this relationship. But really what I'm seeing here, so this is the card of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius to me is the spiritual adventurer. They're the ones that are meant to go out on these adventures, quests to engage with new people and new cultures and new experiences, but then to bring it into the spiritual kind of alchemization place. I always call them the bee, the bee of the zodiac. They get to like cross-pollinate between all of these different ideas and people and places. And that's the beauty of Sagittarius. And so there's this kind of quality of that going on here, of really coming back to this place of perhaps you going back to a time when you felt like you were able to kind of live from this place, maybe tapping back into a passion. Maybe you've started to remember an aspect, uncover an aspect of yourself. Or this can be that you are reconnecting through a new love. This can be through a child. This could be through a new relationship where you get a chance to go back and through this new relationship and this kind of, touching from the unconditional, that you get to go back and uncover a part of yourself that maybe you had hidden because you maybe had been hurt in the past. Maybe there was this beautiful part of yourself that you had to cover up, that you emotionally connect to from a really positive place, but you had to cover up because of something emotionally traumatic that had happened. And so you really couldn't step into this energy of working with your passion. Instead, you might have maybe gone between these two energies. You might have gone between being this kind of like optimistic child to the kind of flaky Don Juan. And now you're reconnecting through this fresh lens of new love, what am I trying to say? Can you get me all tongue-tied today? It's like refreshed love. This is bringing back, rekindling that element of, this is what fills my cup, and this is what unconditional love is like. And in doing so, that's reminding you, is giving you a chance to really see the two aspects of yourself that maybe had been out of balance because you had been hiding from this, maybe had been hiding from this full cup of love, and now you get a chance to go back and really look at yourself and rekindle that love of self, to where now you get to move into the positive versions of this. You get to move into playing again with maybe even a partner. Again, it's that kind of renewal of love. So there is this element here of, I think, you kind of fighting destiny a little bit. That's what was coming through here, fighting this destiny of this, you tapping into the greater design, kind of starting to see your purpose and your place and reconnecting with that and understanding almost this law of manifestation, and realizing that maybe up until now you weren't quite centered and focused, that you were trying to build this legacy, you were trying to engage from a place of authenticity, engage from a place of passion, but maybe it wasn't able to be expressed because you weren't allowing yourself to be vulnerable in love. And now, with this greater understanding, you're able to do that. but you can't fight. You can't fight what you know. You can't fight the knowledge that everything is connected. And I think at this point now, kind of what you're fighting is actually the love and support that the universe is trying to bring in for you. Cancer, this just took a whole new turn to a really positive place. So I think there's a little bit of this awareness of really understanding that perhaps you were kind of fluctuating a little bit between, again, kind of a childish, kind of naive version of self and this kind of Don Juan flaky version. But through this new inspired love connection between yourself and another, as well as the divine, that you're getting a chance to come back. It's almost like a reset, getting a chance to come back to your original self to build something together with another. But you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. This is going back to, this is basically connecting with our inner child, connecting with our true vulnerability. And that could be really scary. And there actually may be somebody from the other side or a family member now who's really trying to help you break through to get back to this place that maybe you've hidden behind all these kinds of layers of masking and wounding. And it's saying, come out now. It's time to come out fearlessly, because the person that you're with now is part of your cosmic plan, is part of what fills your cup of love, and it's also who's going to share and build this legacy with you. I really love the turn here, Cancer. Okay, I'm going to pull one final card as a message for you guys. And this is going to be really focusing on the principle. I'm leaving you basically with the principle of contemplation, which allows us to connect the dots between what we're curious about, what we're opening ourselves up to, what concepts we're opening ourselves up to, either related to ourselves or our external environment, and connecting that with the actions we get a chance to courageously take. And in your case, it's about making yourself vulnerable to new love and getting a chance then through contemplation to take a look at, okay, what was I curious about? What did I take authentic action to do? And now what were the consequences of that or those actions? And this is where we get a chance to integrate lessons. We get a chance to continue self-education through direct experience. It's also a place where we get a chance to hold ourselves self-responsible towards what happens in our life. We get a chance to realize that our seat of self-control and power lies within our ability to take action and to learn from our consequences. That's what allows us to not stay stagnant. So it allows us to continue to grow on all levels, including on an emotional and spiritual level. And so it also allows us to stay engaged with place and purpose and how we're interacting with the world. All right, what is one last... This deck is always hard for me to shuffle. So we have round and round. And that's number 25, breaking down to the number 7. Now this card specifically, it talks about kind of going, if you read the message from the book that comes with this, it talks about kind of going round and round in circles. That's actually very similar to what I was just talking about as far as what contemplation is used to guard against, which is stagnation in not learning from our actions. This is where we can stay making the same mistake in love over and over and over again, or where we can, keep finding ourselves in the wrong job over and over and over again. because we're not bringing it back to ourselves and realizing that half of the battle here, half is destiny, which is external and outside of our control, and half is internal, which is our free will and within our control. This is where our seat of courage and action. And then when we choose not to really work with contemplation, this is where we don't take responsibility for what continues to happen. We're not looking at the consequences of our actions. We're not taking responsibility for our actions. And so we keep attributing everything to the external. And when we do that, we lose our ability to make internal changes to then make sure that we don't continue to either get into the same negative cycle in relationships or the same negative cycle in work environments, or you name it, where we just kind of get stuck in this repeat pattern that doesn't have a beneficial outcome for us. But the other part of this card is the number 7, first of all, so number 25 breaking down to a 7. That the number 7 in general is where we get a chance to connect with spirit, with the divine. We get a chance to really feel that singular connection where we are a unique soul and a unique being connected specifically to source energy. And we get a chance to kind of check in with, through the lens of our unique spiritual authentic self, kind of everything around us. It's a number that I associate, interestingly enough, with the sign of Aquarius. And I don't think they actually have any direct relation, but that's just what I myself attribute to the characteristics that I assign to the number 7, which is kind of this, it's a number that's meant to show you your individuality. A number that's meant to show you that, yes, even though we are connected to everything, we each bring our own piece to the puzzle. And I love here that this image is almost like the kind of the Fibonacci spiral here, which is the perfect ratio, the golden ratio. And it's showing that, to me, intuitively, when I'm looking at this card right now, for you guys, that there's this quality of tapping in to that perfection, to that element of, it doesn't matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter how many times you've gone round and round. In reality, this was all meant to be. This is all part of the design. And you're not just going round and round like this, like in a static closed circle. You're actually spiraling outward in this beautiful, ever-evolving spiral, not a closed circle. So even if you have been, even if it feels like you keep revisiting the same things, you're actually revisiting them from different perspectives. If you're able to stay open and curious, that you may come across a similar relationship or a similar outcome when you take action in a specific way. But each time you get to come around to that, you're slightly more evolved. You've learned another lesson. You have a new perspective. And so this is really, as a point of contemplation, where is this connection to everything? If you would simply let down your defenses through the eyes of refreshed new love, and the knowledge that also not only are you loved by another and can share this cup with another, but you actually share this with the divine as well. This is the divine giving you the cup of unconditional love for who you are as a unique spiritual individual. And where can you settle in and accept confidently who you are, warts and all, because to the divine you're perfect. This is unconditional love. And where can you bring that into your current into all relationships? where you can accept the other in the same way, to be able to give support and love and unconditional love of the other person that you're with, to see them from the lens of their spiritual importance, and then allow yourself to be open to the same, that the other person also sees you as such, and that you don't have to defend your truth against theirs, because together your truths are connected through the bond of emotional love and fulfillment. We all have our own truths. We all have our own perspective. But we can still be respectful and love another for their perspective, for the difference in perspective, actually. What they bring to the relationship that you do not, and vice versa. So there's this underlying level of realizing how far you've come, to contemplate just how much further out from this original start of the spiral you are now, and the different perspective you might have on the same aspect of self, and the same relationship perhaps that you've been in for quite some time, and now you can see it from a different perspective. And to allow yourself the ability to feel love for yourself, feel love for another, and allow another to love you. This is an incredible reading, Cancer. I really wasn't expecting this when I started it. I thought, starting with this card, I thought you were all, defensive and spiny, but in reality, this is coming down to you actually opening up to the beauty of love, and to really, I think, bringing it back to yourself as well, to love yourself, to bring yourself to that place of vulnerability, just the same way that we would love a child, our own child, is the same way that we have to love that vulnerable inner child within ourselves. And when we can do that, we actually are able then to see the inner child of everyone around us, and to love that inner child within others as much as we love it within ourselves. All right, Cancer, I hope that this has been illuminating for you. I really think you guys are being surrounded right now by incredibly supportive, beautiful energy, and are moving into probably deeper, renewed love with another. And if you're not with another right now, so if you are single, I'd say that this is more about coming back to a deeper love connection with self, so that then you can go out and partner with the divine to create your legacy. All right. If you'd like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day and month. Bye, Cancer.